Welcome back to Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis as the Southern Miss Lady Eagles continue their run in Conference USA. It was that big Texas road swing. That'll be the focus of our show today. Also looking ahead to the big homestand, two more teams from Texas come to town. A much improved North Texas team, a very competitive Rice team, and that was evidenced as to their showdown they had last Saturday when they played one another. But we start this segment with the UTEP Miners, #1 team in the league, a team that I think when they come to Hattiesburg will be a top 25 ranked ball club, 18-1 now on this season after they swept through last week and also picked up a win against Louisiana Tech. And despite all that, let's focus in on that second half when the Lady Eagles had dug themselves a 15-point deficit in that second quarter. Carrie Jew at her coming out party, 23 points, knocks in 4 threes, and the Lady Eagles make it a one-possession game.
You know, we do, Josh, and, you know, we have to really understand that UTEP is the #1 team in this league. And, you know, we're a team that was just humiliated on national television. It was a team that was really down on themselves. You know, it's kind of like an old country song. You're down on luck. And that's where we were, to be very honest with you. And I can say as a staff, we were really proud of how the team rallied to go on the trip to El Paso and compete like we did against the #1 team in the league. And it did. It became a one-possession game, 60-63. In that segment, we went 1 for 3 from the free throw line, and we had 3 turnovers before either team scored. So the game was right there within our reach, and we just couldn't grasp it. And, you know, again, you don't want to think, well, that was a win that would have really changed the whole concept of everything. I really believe it would have, Josh. But we came up short. So you have to find the positives in it. You have to find the positives. The positive is the #1 team in the league. Your team has very little leadership. We go on the road. We go to the edge of the earth. We play there, and we battle. I mean, we battle hard, and we have a chance. We just don't close the gap. So you have to walk away from that game knowing that, yes, we can get it done on the road. You know, that's the issue. We're road weary, and we just can't get it together. But looking at that game and being so into that game, we just know we're close. We're close, and it's going to happen, and it's going to come together for us. We just really believe that. And I think the coming out party for Carrie Jewett was a blast. You know, it was something that gave her a sense of confidence. And then again, Caitlin Jenkins, another freshman, a double-double. We just needed someone else to really step up and help get us over the hump. That's what we got to have for us to be able to get some wins on the road.
And a couple things happened in that ball game, and one of those being Brittany Dinkins hurts her ankle in that game, comes down on the side of a foot. She plays limited minutes. She was the only lady able to play and not score.
You know, and she didn't play the fourth quarter. And, you know, when you have a player that is a starter in your lineup and a player that is expected to be a key role for you all year, now she goes down. And, you know, LaShira Cotton continues to be steady Eddie and really played with the Warriors mentality in that game. And then Shayla Wilson, we saw, again, I've been saying she's getting better and better and better. That game, you know, she played a little better, but she didn't really have her breakout game until our next game against UTSA, and I know that's coming up in a few minutes.
It is coming up in a few minutes. So talk about the crowd there at UTEP.
Oh, my goodness.
4,300, loud, energetic. They really spurred the team when it got close. But now it put the Lady Eagles in another situation where they had to handle the crowd noise, get the calls in, get the plays in, and I thought they handled it a little better.
It was very much so. You know, the crowd was extremely loud. Their marketing department, Coach Keitha, her staff, you know, they did a tremendous job. It was Community Appreciation Night, and everyone in the community got in free. And they were loud. And that group, Josh, that was sitting behind our bench, they called us every name imaginable. A couple of times I even got tickled, and I never hear anybody in the stands. But it was like they had megaphones, and it was coming straight to my ears, some of the stuff they were saying. Some people would have been offended by it. But, you know, I just think it's exciting when you have fans that are that passionate about the game and about their team. you just chuckle about it. But they were very hostile, should I say. They were very passionate about the Lady Miners, and it was an unbelievable crowd. Our players could have totally lost focus because of that crowd sitting behind their bench, but they didn't. And again, I think that shows that we're growing up a little bit.
And Joye, you play UTEP so well on the road, and then you get to have them come here in just a couple of weeks. And this is a group that could be top 25 in the country when they get here, so you'd like that opportunity if the team can continue to improve.
You know, they are a top 25 team, Josh. They should be in the top 25 right now. They have every piece of the puzzle. And you know, you think back, a year ago, UTEP ended their season with 12 wins. 12 wins, that's all they won last year. They had a losing season. It was a real struggle. They faced adversity. They lost some players. They had some players that had to sit out last year for various reasons. They got them back. The leadership has just kind of grown. Her young team has matured, and they're very good, very, very good. This team is a great, UTEP is a great learning tool for us to see. Now, I want to win more than 12 ball games. Please understand that. Let me say that. But I think that you see the struggles that they had and how young that they were last year and how they really grew up and how they've matured. And they went from having a losing season to should be a top 25 team in the country. You know, that gives our team some little bit of hope that you go on the road and you play that team as close as we did, Josh, and played so hard. You have to build on that. You know, not everybody can win every game. And we all have challenges within our teams. Everybody in the country does. Right now, ours is leadership and maturity, and we're going through some growing pains. But again, we have to get better every single day, and we have to be passionate every day and use the talents that's been given to us.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue with Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis. The Lady Eagles boarded a plane from El Paso, arrived in San Antonio to take on a UTSA team that's one of the most underrated teams in the entire league. So we'll talk about that when we come back. You're watching Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis. As Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis continues, little assist to coach as we head into our second segment. And the Lady Eagles, as we talked about at the end of the last segment, from El Paso to San Antonio, not only to play one of the most underrated teams in the league, but then you got to do it on about 6 hours rest. It was a 5:05 wake-up call. Brutally early start, and as we've talked about off the air and as we kind of just rehash this trip over and over on our minds and kind of self-evaluating, we kind of think that maybe on hindsight might have affected this team a little bit.
Oh, I think it did. There's no doubt. You know, you play as hard as we played, and, you know, we got on a flight, and, you know, there's a lot of reasons why we had to take that flight. But I do think, hindsight, it was definitely something that we probably should not have done. But again, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, we got it. We had practice, you know, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at UTSA. You think the downtime, you know, of being able to get rest, get in study hall, all those things that night before would be very beneficial to us. But again, that night's sleep, I really do think it affected us because we were so lethargic in that game. We were very, very lethargic. Kerry Jewett kept coming to the bench and said, Coach, I just can't make it. I don't feel it. My body is exhausted. I'm just tired. And, you know, several of them were trying to fight through, and that's what we kept saying. You got to fight through it. LaShira Cotton goes down, playing extremely well. She and Shayla Wilson got off to a great start. Shy coming off the bench, being a great surge for us, goes down with her shoulder. And I think this shows a little bit of growth in different individuals at different times. You know, Kerry Jewett was trying her hardest to get it going. LaShira Cotton a year ago goes down with a shoulder separation, never comes back in the ball game. Never. What did she do? She comes out in the first half. Their shoulder is separated. They pop it back in. They ice it. She says, Coach, I'm ready to go again. And Melissa said, we need to wait through halftime, but you can go again. But it shows a little bit of growth in this team of really wanting to press on, you know, and we played really well in the first half against UTSA. You know, we scored, we executed. The second half, it was like a ton of bricks jumped on our backs. We missed shot after shot at the rim. We missed layups. We missed open shots. We hit air balls. I mean, it was just truly an ugly second half of basketball. It really, really was. And it was very frustrating to our coaches, but it was very frustrating to our team. And to me, as a coach, that's what you want to see. You want to see the team disheartened. You want to see them that they were frustrated because they felt like, and we all felt like, if we would have just played half the way we played in the first half, we could have bought just 2 more baskets, then everything would have been different for this team. You know, I don't think we played soft. We just couldn't get over the hump. And I just think we were very, very tired. And, you know, our coaches were tired. You know, we were sluggish the next morning. We had to get up at 6 a.m. the next morning to fly back to Hattiesburg. And it was truly just a very rough trip. It really, really was. And, you know, we've all been a little down by it. Our players, our coaches, we've all been, you know, feeling like poor, pitiful me, to be honest with you a little bit. But you have to put that behind you. You've got to get on with it. You know, my husband's the greatest in that he always leaves me notes. You know, he left me a note that said, Duke has lost 4 out of 5, Joy, men's basketball, and they won the national championship last year. So every team struggles at some point, and your team is one of the most inexperienced teams in the country. Strap up your bootstraps, and let's get after it. And that's what we have done as coaches. That's what we've done as players, and looking forward to a great weekend.
One of the things you shared with the team, a couple of points that I was able to pick up of being on that trip, 21 points in that ball game with the 41 were scored in the second quarter. Then you shared with the team that 3 balls aren't a bad thing for this team, but where we are right now with the amount of time that this team has put in, we're streaky. So how do we get over that and develop that consistency?
You know, a great point. You know, we talked a lot and we've really worked a lot in practice this week inside out. We cannot go and miss back-to-back 3 balls. We can't. If we miss a back-to-back 3 ball, then we can't shoot a 3. You know, we've got to get a post touch. We've got to get it inside, outside. We may shoot a 3 ball, but it may be under the 10-second clock. We've got to do a much better job of managing the clock or having a thought process when you're struggling shooting the ball. You know, that you've got to reverse it a few times. You're going to get that same shot 10 seconds later. Because if you're struggling like we were struggling shooting the ball and you shoot it quick, then they're getting the ball to go back, and now you're putting pressure on your defense again, and now you're coming back offensively, and it's just a challenge. And again, those are the things that we're all learning. And, you know, we're continuing to make steps in. And so that's honestly where we are. And, you know, not having Geronte Clemens truly is a big loss for our team, because when things are struggling, she was always the energizer. You know, she may make mistakes, but defensively, she was going to get a steal. She was going to get an offensive rebound and a stick back. She was going to get a drive. And I think that's something this team is learning to play without their energizer, because truly, Josh, we don't have that on this team. You know, it was Megan Brown. It was Geronte Clemens. And with Megan's injury, and just having Megan, though, back in practice has been huge for us. But, you know, we're having to learn how to play without the spark. And again, that's a learning process for this team.
I don't think there's many teams in the country that could lose the 13th best player in the history of their program scoring-wise and be able to just immediately bounce back. That's what the Lady Eagles have done. And one of the things, too, in closing this segment, 2-3 zone that UTSA did very effectively, it gave the Lady Eagles an opportunity to watch a lot of film, key in on some particular things, some definite teaching moments for this group.
Very much so.
And we're going to be much more prepared if we see that at any point. And we will. We'll see it at some point.
Oh, indeed.
Moving
sure,
forward.
We're going to see it. And we've done breakdown drills this week. You know, we've watched a lot of film. We've had a lot of teaching time to really prepare for that. So whoever throws it at us next, the Lady Eagles will be ready.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap this show as you'll have a mic'd up segment coming out of the break with Alora Sharp. Alora was mic'd up in practice a week ago, and so you'll get a chance to kind of see behind the scenes all the great energy and teaching ability that Alora brings to the table. And then we'll talk about the big homestand. We need you at Reed Green, where the Lady Eagles are undefeated, 9-0, North Texas and Rice coming to town. We'll take a break. Back to wrap the show after this. You're watching Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis.
Thank you so much for this prestigious award. I would like to thank my friends and family.
Hey, it's time for your homework.
Coming, Mama. As I was saying, I would also like to thank my educators for all they've done with me. Without them, I couldn't do anything.
And the winner of the first place award for small cities is Hattiesburg, Mississippi for the Education Initiative.
What are you doing back there, Haley?
Feeling like a winner.
Stay in it. Stay in it. Good. Recover. Dead. Get a shot up, Gold. Penetrate. Good. Get a shot up. Hit that, Katie. Pull up. Good move. Oh, good pitch. Knock that down. That's a good shot. That's good offense right there. Stop the ball.
As we put the finishing touches on this edition of Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis, the Lady Eagles welcoming in North Texas and Rice. A lot of big promotions coming up for these two games, and we'll talk about the promotions in just a moment. But very quickly, North Texas and Rice, two teams that right now are sitting towards the bottom of the league, but two teams that are changing the cultures of their program.
I'm telling you what, they're good, Josh. They're really good. Both of those new coaches are doing a tremendous job, both of them. Their teams are playing with a lot of passion. They're playing with a lot of heart. They're playing with a lot of fire. You know, North Texas has played 3 overtime games. They've been in overtime with Rice and North Texas. Both of those games have been in overtime. North Texas has played in a triple overtime game. And both of those teams, Josh, the upper echelon teams in our league, they have played them to the wire. I'm telling you, they're good. They're really, really good. And it's going to be a hard matchup for the Lady Eagles. It really is. You know, I'm glad we're at home. The Lady Eagles need this home game, this home stand more than they need anything else. And they need a lot of fans to come out on Thursday night, where first 100 students get a free T-shirt. Get a free T-shirt at that game as we take on North Texas. Unbelievable team, doing a great job there. Lots of energy. Get ready for an up and down game. They're going to press us from the horn sounds to the horn end for the end of the game. It's going to be a great ball game, lots of energy, lots of excitement. This Lady Eagle team must get off to a great start against the North Texas. It's the Eagles versus the Eagles. The Southern Miss Eagles have got to be the team that soars.
And then when you look at North Texas, this is a team that knocked off 17th ranked Oklahoma.
Yes, very early in the season. And again, they play really, really hard. Both of these teams are very similar in things that they do in middle third on ball screens, which is the middle of the floor, wing on ball screens on the outer thirds of the ball screen. And, you know, we have really studied how people have guarded them, how they're successful in the things that they do. And I'm going to tell you, Josh, they're very multidimensional. They really can score in multiple ways. But I'll tell you this, you can't ever underestimate them at all. North Texas has a young lady that is a walk-on their team that comes in against Rice at North Texas this past weekend. Hits 5 threes. Anytime an opportunity presents itself, their players have really stepped up to the moment for both of those basketball teams. Very good teams. Be great competition.
And then coming up on Saturday, it's going to be the alumni game. It's going to be a chance to honor former players. Hopefully, maybe put together a little pickup game at halftime. We'll see if we can't get that together. Maybe you can make a couple of phone calls.
Yes, that's for sure. And you know, I've talked to several of the former players that played back when I played, and you know, several of them are coming in. You know, I really want them to come in during the day. I want them to come and speak to our team, share some experience of what it was to be a Lady Eagle back in the day, how the tradition was built. You know, so many times we forget about that. And we forget all the people that have laid the things before us and the sacrifices they have made. And, you know, we tell the team about it, but it's so great when you hear it actually from the individuals that really played a role in making that happen, of riding on vans, of sitting on metal medicine bags, which now they're cloth and you roll them. Ours was just a little medicine kit and you would sit on it. And where the throat medicine was only chloroseptic that you had back then, you know, and you didn't have what was called pre-wrap. You sprayed the tough skin on your ankles and you wrapped ankles. And, you know, it's just a different mentality of then. And you know what? We thought back in the early 80s, we had everything that anybody would ever want because it was just the dream of playing college basketball at Southern Miss. And so we're excited to have so many of these former players to come back and share in their experience as a Lady Eagle.
And then in closing, Craig Adams is going to have some all access over the next few homestands. It's going to be neat to get behind the scenes. I hope there's a couple more good pregame speeches in line because we want some clips of those. I heard one of your best, it's coming from Pauline Love, that you were inspiring prior to the UTEP game.
Well, I will tell you, Josh, I was in the locker room and I've really searched. Our coaches have talked about different things. They go out. I throw everything out that I thought that we should even discuss in there. I said, you know, heck, none of that matters. All that matters is us. And, you know, I told the parable of the talents that's in the Bible about the 5 talents, the 2 talents, and the 1 talent. And everyone on this team has a talent. Everyone on this team has some ability. And it's so important that you use that ability. And, you know, you have to take action in doing that. And so, again, it's just we're trying everything. For example, at UTSA, the thing was faith don't move mountains. It takes a pick to get it done. So you can have the faith, but faith alone doesn't move mountains. The action has to take place for it to happen. For us to continue to improve, we can have faith, we can believe, but there has to be an action to make it happen.
Again, it's North Texas coming up on Thursday. It's Rice on Saturday. Again, on Thursday night, it's going to be National Girls and Women in Sports Day. And then coming up on Saturday, it's going to be the alumni game, so you want to be a part of that. And don't forget to join us each and every Tuesday at Mugshot, 6 to 7 o'clock for Fast Break with Coach McNelis. For Craig Adams, for Coach McNelis, I'm Josh West. You've been watching Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis.
Southern Miss fans, show your pride with real Golden Eagles gear from the official online store, shop.southernmiss.com. You'll find everything a Golden Eagles fan needs, from jerseys to sideline gear, polos, t-shirts, hats, and more. With an awesome selection of Golden Eagles products, including official team merchandise from Russell, when it comes to Golden Eagles pride, there's only one place real Southern Miss fans go, shop.southernmiss.com.